Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 33rd episode of Visioncon Live, your go-to nerdy talk show. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the woman of the hour. She's the Dora Milaje from Black Panther, Banshee from Ultimate Tag, just to name a few. She is the legendary actress, athlete, stunt woman, and just all-around badass. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Carrie Bernans. Carrie, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for that great introduction. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing dandy as candy, Carrie. Now, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of fun things with this episode, guys. But first and foremost, we've got to cover one thing because, ladies and gentlemen, this week's episode of Visioncon Live is brought to you by the Help Network. The Help Network helps talented freelancers, professionals, and small businesses get in contact with the content creators they're looking for. They also provide classes and webinars covering a variety of fields in the entertainment industry, united for both newcomers and novices, while also helping veterans just, trying to hone their craft. From actors to film editors to even motion caption stages, the Help Network is here to help you get the help you need. Visit them online at www.helpnet.com. Again, that's HALP for help.com to see how you can improve your life with their help. All righty, guys. I always love doing an ad read. I don't know what it is about it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Carrie, the first question I want to ask you is, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, but the first thing I want to talk about is, how did we get here? You're an absolute tour de force in the entertainment industry. You do a little bit of everything, but I kind of want to know where we all started. Was this always the plan, or did stuff happen kind of intermittently in your life that got you to this point?
That's a great question. I would say that I've always definitely desired storytelling in like the large arena set of it. And it developed more and more as I got older. I remember when I was like 5, 6 years old, I would watch something on TV and then I would beg my sister, she was younger than me, so she had to listen, to play her part, and me and her would act something out for my mom. And I've traveled all around the world, all around the States, and I've like learned so much along the way. And I would say that I grew up with a mom that worked really hard, but we weren't always in the best situations, like lower income. So I think those experiences really taught me a lot. And I wanted to like share our story of how we kind of saw the light of day and how we progressed and got better and better and grew out of poverty. And I think like it's really a part of storytelling. And then doing it on a larger scale inspires more people, and that's definitely a part of it. And I think the other part is I've always been an athlete my entire life. I've been like swimming, jumping out of trees since I was like 2 years old. I didn't know a thing called stunts existed before I went to Hollywood about 4.5 years ago, and then maybe like 4 years ago I learned about stunts. So I've done a bit of acting from church plays to school to community centers, but I also played every sport in the book. So I've been just as athletic as I have been like creative and like learning instruments and languages and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Do you find that since you are, like I said, such a tour de force, you can do essentially everything that, a booker or a recruiter could possibly want? You find that is advantageous to you compared to, someone who might just do one of them?
I think, yeah, it's definitely advantageous. I think that it sets me apart. It makes me very unique. I do think sometimes, there's this like older mindset of like, you're doing too much and you're the jack of all trades versus a master of none. But I believe I'm a master at a lot of trades because I've been doing this for over years of time. And I believe it also can be combined. And I think that when you look at show business, it's show and it's business, So it takes two of those necessary skills to succeed and to be good. And I think that the more well-rounded you are, the more use you're going to have in longevity in your career. I mean, yeah, I can go play the teenager that went to high school and something happened to me, or I could play the teenager that skateboards. I went to high school and they did something and then turns into a vampire at night because I have this like creative ass imagination, So that's what I think. I think that overall, a lot of people look at it as more of a plus than they do a con, because I also have more unsaid experience than other people do. And sometimes that does go a longer way.
Mhm. Well, speaking of showbiz, we would be remiss if we didn't touch on some key characters and roles you've played throughout the years. The first one of which comes to no surprise. We're going to talk about Dora Milaje from Black Panther. You know, a term or a title I probably butchered, so please forgive me, guys, if I did.
Oh, you
But,
did good.
for those of you who don't know who they are the empowering and entirely badass female, or the female warriors from Black Panther. And I just got to ask that, Black Panther is one of Marvel's most iconic, most impactful, and most successful movies in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. So how did it feel being cast as one of those, incredible female warriors? And like, was the work involved in it ever taxing, both, physically or even emotionally?
Yeah, I think being cast and being a part of Black Panther as a Dora Milaje warrior was absolutely an incredible experience, because not only did I come on this role like learning and doing a lot of stunts, but I also portrayed this character that is, so vast and so important to our society and our community. And not only, the world as our community, but also just like the diverse community of Black and brown girls and boys around the world. And yeah, it was definitely life changing and transformational for me, because not only was, shaving my head off bald, experience that I didn't think I would ever do after having like 17 inches of hair down my back. But I think that every day when you asked about the taxing part, it transformed me into a real ass warrior. It was hard some days. Like, I'm training with these phenomenal stuntmen that have been doing this stuff for years, been bow staff and all of that. And yeah, I was training martial arts at the time, but I wasn't on the level that they were on. And I had to get up and quick to speed, like as soon as I got on set. So every day was long. Every day was 8, 10, 11, 12, 13 hours, and it was a lot of, counts of choreography, a lot of play, and then a lot of mindset. And then taking yourself out of this is acting or portraying, or this is doing stunts, to we're on a battlefield. These are my opponents. Let's go and bring this to life. So it was great. That was like a big part of my like learning career. Also for like visionary stuff, I always imagined being flown out of California to work on a project and being put in a hotel and getting the whole shebang. And that was the first project for me that, well, actually it was the second one, but the first like longest one, I should say, longer than a couple weeks, I was flown out first class, put onto hotels. So that showed me dreams do come true. It can happen. It doesn't have to be just 2-3 days of work. You can work for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. Like, I've been on this project. I'm on in New Mexico for over a month now. And that's been great too, because we're in COVID, but it's all like this mindset thing too. So I would say, to answer your question and make a whole big wide circle, yes.
Well, it's definitely, like I said, one of Marvel's most impactful movies, because, for those of you who don't know, I am also the marketing manager of a theater here. And so while we had that movie, yes, everybody liked it. It was one of the rare movies where I never heard anybody say anything bad about it. Mm-hmm. However, it had, and I have not seen this before or since any other movies that we've ever had, there were 2 instances, well, there were multiple, but the ones that definitely stuck with me were, there was an older African-American man who was just sobbing when he came out of that movie, obviously happy tears, of course. And then there was this one small, I believe he was probably 6, just with a gleam in his eye after he was leaving it finally. And, I could just tell, A, because I could just tell, and also B, because I talked to him a little bit afterwards, because he asked me to get a refill of popcorn, but whatever, that, that he finally had a hero that he could be for Halloween, is how he put it. I know that was kind of 6-year-old, though, for, how that he finally had a superheroes and these role models that he could look up to, in this Marvel universe. So did you ever think that when you got this role that it would be such an impactful film and it would make so much of a difference to, kind of, it's bridging the gap between societies, and so societies. So did you ever think that would ever be the case?
Yeah, I definitely knew that the film would definitely transform a lot of people in the image of how people see themselves, 100%. Did I think that it would make $1 billion? I'm not sure, but I never questioned it. I think that what I did think is like, I knew that me shaving my head for my like small part of this overall grand scheme of the film was something that I had a problem with initially doing. I said, do I really have to shave it? But then I just also kind of put, like, if I was talking to a little young girl and boy, I'm like going to tell them that their hair is going to qualify what their beauty is, you know? And what about the kids that don't have hair? What about the kids that are considered to have rough hair, nappy hair, this hair, that hair? So I shaved it off to also prove to myself that beauty lies beyond just the physical image. And then furthermore, with the film of Black Panther, yeah, I knew like it's a Black superhero. Often we don't see the stories of Black superheroes being told. Not prior to Black Panther, it was very, very rare. Black Lightning came right after that. Luke Cage was right before that. But the reality is I knew that this is gonna change the lives of Black and brown kids. But dang, you know, it's $1 billion. White people, Asians, Hispanics, everybody else saw the movie too. So I think that internally it changed the lives of everyone and how they saw Black people. And then more importantly, I think like how the imaginary Wakanda, which is like African based, is also seen, because we only usually see it as like this poor country that, you know, lacks resources, but reality is a country that is really rich with some poor parts, just like every other country, and has a lot of resources. So yeah.
Yeah, it was an absolutely beautiful movie, very impactful movie, just everything under the sun. But I did want to talk about another project that, yeah, it's a little different in tone, but God, is it just as intense. That, of course, is Ultimate Tag. Now,
Yeah.
we talked a little bit, if you guys missed the pre-show, we talked a little bit about the semantics of what a tag is. But go ahead and, if you would, give us the elevator pitch for what Ultimate Tag is for the folks watching at home.
Yeah, Ultimate Tag is basically a sports interactive show where you take real athletes and you give them characters such as the Banshee, Dynamite, Atomic Ant, and they're playing a game of tag, but it's called tag on steroids. It's tag beyond your, you know, backyard tag. We jump over obstacles such as they do in Ninja Warrior, and we play a game like they would in um, American Gladiators. But I know American Gladiators came out in the 90s when I was born. So a lot of you, if you are younger, don't know what American Gladiators are. It's basically people that dress up and they're playing like different athletic games. But tag is so much fun. It's so fun, and the way we dress up and we play these characters, it just makes good entertainment. But you're gonna see some real athleticism, like the flow can literally like walk on water. So
It's so intense. I was watching an episode actually earlier today where I saw one of the guys just, they're running full sprint at each other. He slides under a freaking cushion thing, like the little bridge thing, and then just seamlessly goes back up. You guys are insane. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about your character, Banshee. I gotta say, there was a definite computer screen difference between the two of us, but I was intimidated. Like, you get into it.
I do. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I did want to ask, is there any aspect about the character Banshee that is kind of reflective of who you are? Or if it isn't, is there anything about Banshee that you kind of stuck with you now through your everyday life?
Yeah, I say Banshee is so much fun. It's definitely a fictional character. I mean, I don't go run around and scream at people. I did realize that sometimes I'll get really mad and frustrated at home and I'm working on something and it's not like panning out. I may like scream loudly and I'm like, what the heck? Where did this come from? But it may have came from the show, like just like different aspects of my life translated into reality. But I say like Banshee is definitely fictional. I mean, I am really competitive, so that part of me definitely translates through. But I think other than that, besides the competitiveness, I I don't go out there and lure people in and take their like souls or tags. No, that's not me. But
Sure.
I will play that character on TV one day. Sure, again, absolutely.
Oh my God. And so we talked a little bit about, physical demand. I mean, I gotta say, you'd be hard pressed to find a show that isn't more physically demanding than Ultimate Tag. So is that where, your athleticism and your experience with doing stunts kind of really help you in that aspect?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I would say my experience also running track in college definitely helped me with like the speed of like running after people and getting people, especially when we had to go against like I was running with the men. Like they're pretty fast, but I can be faster. And I think like yeah, doing stunts too, but the thing is like the show because it's more athletic based, we don't do a lot of stunts cuz stunts is like, you fall, you fall the right way so you don't get hurt. Well, I try my best if I do fall to fall like as if I'm doing this stunt, but because the adrenaline is so high and you're in this high octane sports game, if you fall, you're probably going to really hurt and feel it. It's not like a real stunt. So I would say my years of running track and doing soccer and all, and then even doing like just variety of things in stunts gave me that just agility to just move and transform movement depending on if I was in the tight dome or on the ground trying to chase that tag.
And speaking of stunts, as we all know, you are a very accomplished stunt woman as well. And I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
it must take a certain bravery and a certain tenacity to be a stunt person. Because I'll tell you, first and foremost, I couldn't and nor would I do it. But
Yeah.
you are a fearless stunt woman. And so I did want to ask, being a stunt person, is there just an innate bravery that you have to have, no questions asked in order to do this job? Or is it something that can be developed over time?
I would honestly say that you definitely need some courage and some bravery before you get into stunts because everything you do as you do your stunt career if you're trying to have longevity, it's going to be really multiverse and very well rounded. So you need to like learn how to do high falls, even if that's not going to be your specialty. You need to be able to like, you might have a stunt that's at higher elevation or at the high point of a mountain or a high hill, and you shouldn't be afraid of heights. So I would say, in my opinion, yes, things can be developed over time, but then you might end up with doing one stunt for 10 years and investing all this money. And why would you even go down that route versus like having a little bit of courage and bravery can go a long way. There is specialty parts of stunts where some people are only called for water jobs because they know they're great at water, or they only call for motorcycle jobs because they know they're great at motorcycles.
Sure.
But even those things can be very dangerous and risky. You're under the water too long, sure you might drown, if you don't know how to swim well enough in some crazy ways or motorcycle. There's so many accidents can happen from that.
Yeah. Was there ever any stunt that you've done throughout the years that really has kind of stuck with you, and the one that was arguably maybe one of your most intimidating stunts that you ever had to perform?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of my first stunts, I was pushed off backwards off of a roof, um, about 40-ish feet in the air, and I think that definitely was my first ever stunt. So it was like it definitely
Oh my
stuck with
God.
me, and my adrenaline was so high, but I was so ready and so excited, and it went great. But I think another one that really stuck with me was when I was in the Dominican Republic, and I was like on the side of this like cliff, like hiking it up, and we didn't get like a test rehearsal with it, and I didn't notice how slippery it was, and it was like piercing my skin as I was walking up, and I remember looking down and seeing a peninsula of water and thinking like, oh my God, if I drop, I'm dead, period. Like, what am I doing? But that's something that I learned as I went. The next time I'm going like, oh, can we look at the cliff before we do it? Or I'm going to ask those questions. And that was a learning lesson for me. I was fine. I survived it. I had to pretend I had one broken arm too. So it was even more tough. Um, but it went good.
Oh, Carrie, you're a rare breed. Oh my God. And so with these stunts, you mentioned that, you have to fall a certain way. What kind of way is that? How does one fall in such a way that they kind of mitigate damage?
Absolutely. Well, you fall on, like, especially if you're following your arm, you try to fall on the more meatier part of your arm versus
Oh, okay.
the bone part. And you sometimes try to catch it with your hand and soften the fall as you go down. So it can look like, bam, you're falling, but you're catching it with your hand and rotating it throughout your body, and then it goes down. you don't want to, like, especially if you're falling back, you don't want to hit your head. So you're trying to fall in like maybe the upper part of your back that's a little bit meatier, a little bit more, less bones, less damage, you know? You're not, when you're rolling, you're trying to roll on like the base part of the back, upper shoulder right here, so you can go over so it's not hitting your head. And there's just so many different techniques that way, so you can lessen the impact of broken bones, and especially head whips or head falls and cracking your skull and stuff like that. You don't want to do that.
Still definitely not for the faint of heart, so definitely not for me. But, Yad, you're just amazing. But before we continue, guys, because we're a little bit past the halfway point, I did want to reiterate one thing. Now, a lot of you have already messaged Visioncon directly with your questions and comments for Carrie, but you guys still have some time to do that if you want to message Visioncon directly or put it in the live chat right now. Speaking of that live chat, our very own Marissa Pence, Marissa, you're the wind beneath my sails, has put a bunch of links associated with Carrie Bernans right in the live chat, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, they're going to be in the description box below. But with that said, Carrie, I'm going to kind of jump in topics a little, because I want to talk about the viewers. Now, the people that watch this show are obviously here for the amazing guests that we get on, the one standing right before me. However, a lot of others I've noticed are watching the show because they're interested in getting in the entertainment industry, whether it's voice acting, stunting, just anything. So the following two questions kind of go into that thread. The first one I want to ask you about is rejection. Now, like I always say, rejection's a part of life, no matter how you look at it. However, if there was ever an industry where I would argue rejection is most prevalent, I would definitely say it's the entertainment industry, aka your industry. So, with a hollowed name such as yourself, how do you handle rejection? Does it ever get any easier? Or if it doesn't, is there any tips you could give the folks watching at home to not get down by it?
Yeah, absolutely. Rejection is definitely something that we're going to have no matter what part of our life we're in. I will say if you're in the entertainment industry, you're going to have a lot more rejection than the typical person, but everything is about resilience and about determination and discipline. You have to take that layer of rejection and learn how to stand on top of it, and knowing that you're getting closer to that yes. And it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but you can't give up. You have to remember there's a bigger purpose and the reason why you're doing it in the first place. If you're doing it for fame or this and that, it's going to be hard to hold on because you're not going to get that right away. And you may never get it at all. There's working actors that you don't even see on social media. People don't know who they are, but they're working every day. But what I will say is that you recognize the bigger goal. Put a vision board, something attainable. Every time you hit that, if you get an audition and you don't get a call back, at least celebrate that because you're already beating the majority. If you haven't got an audition yet, but you're getting some traction, celebrate that. So when the rejection comes, you have something to celebrate and you can say, you know what? Well, I'm one closer to that yes. And you just keep going, because the last thing I will say is that, you got to keep trying, because why not? Like you get a no, you try again. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You get another no, whatever. You're aiming for a yes. So you got to keep going till you get the yes. It's out there.
You miss every shot you don't take.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is, kind of jumping from rejection is, like I said, you're well known in your field, or should I say fields. So for the folks watching at home that want to get in the entertainment industry, do you have any special tips that you would give them? Maybe, something that they could avoid, starting out that you maybe had to have overcome. And something I definitely want you to drill in on is the fact that, like you said, don't listen to the jack of all trades, old argument. But how can people avoid letting that bog them down so they don't limit themselves to just maybe one or two facets?
Absolutely. I would say that can you go back with the first part?
Ladies and gentlemen, for those watching, that's what we call a run-on sentence. No, let's space out this question. Let's first go for the folks watching at home, any tips they can get into, you could give them to get into the entertainment industry?
Yeah, any tips for the entertainment industry? I would say, first off, there's so many different parts of the entertainment industry, right? You're right. There's stunts, there's acting, there's voiceover, there's this, there's that. I will be honest with you. If you're trying to get into stunts, if they know that you're trying to do acting or something else, it's going to be very difficult to get in, because the stunt community believes in longevity. They believe in, like, they train a person, they work with the person. Now I want to be able to use the person in the future for a project. So that's the industry that I think is a little bit more niche and close and touchy. Now, it's not impossible to do stunts and to do acting, because there's a lot of people doing it. I'm doing it. I know a lot of other people are doing it. One of the things I will say about acting and voice acting, those two relate. They counterpart, right? So if you're doing acting, you're learning the same things you're going to need to do voice acting. You're just not on screen, but you're on voice, and you're learning your how to control your dialect and your pronunciation of things and all the voices that you can make and all that, you know? There's just a whole book for that. But I would say early on, figure out which one that's most important to you. And then if you're going to do multi things, get things that complement each other. You can be a producer and act if you want to, because you can, like, produce your own film or your web series and stuff. But the higher up you go in producing, then it becomes more focused on taxing, business work, budgets, money, this, that, and the next. And then you decide which lane of producing you want to get in. And it's the same thing with acting. What the last thing I would say before I get to the second part of your question is, don't limit yourself in saying, I just want to be a character actor or a drama actor. Yes, I think that you gotta have something that you're fucking really, really good at. And then you also need to know little bits and pieces of the other stuff too. So hone in your craft, learn it. It's the 360 world. Just like a doctor goes to school for 8 years, don't think it's an overnight thing in the acting career, you know? Education goes a long way, and 8 years to become a doctor, to be in a profession that is longevity and lasting. And that's just sometimes the same thing in the career. The career of acting or stunts and stuff like that. You can learn and work and learn and work, but there is a lot of learning. It's like that 10,000 hours before you become an expert. So just don't give up. Have big goals. Go out there. Get Actors Access, LA Casting, or casting networks, Casting Frontier. Don't fall for the scams in the mall. You want to be an actor, pay $22,000. Don't do that. Google, reach out to people, ask people questions. Everybody might not respond to you, but somebody will.
Miss every shot you don't take.
Exactly. You miss every shot you don't take.
But the second part of my question was, how you mentioned earlier, being the jack of all trades is a very regressive and kind of old way to look at it. So how can you help people who may be kind of surrounded by other people who still believe in this regressive, kind of outlook, the jack of all trades, master of none paradigm? How can you inspire them kind of not to let them get them down?
Yeah, don't let it get you down. What I would say is, like, there are certain times where I would do a job, and I won't mention that I also write and I also do stunts, and I'm just on an acting job, because I'm there to be the best actress I can be. I want people to only look at me as that, and not to then have me worry about other things, unless it's going to benefit me on that situation. So you go into that project as you put on your expert hat for that, and you put on your hat for that, and you're thinking like that. So there's different times and places that you mention different things. That's what I feel that's the best way to do it, so you're not perceived or looked at as, oh, this person doesn't know anything about stuff, so they also do this. Because it does look a little like, what? Are you sure you know what you want to do? So then you go in that lane, and you're there for stunts, and you're there for stunts. You're not there to go get an acting contract unless the opportunity presents itself, and you never know. So I would say that, and I would also say that the people that I know has the longest, like, longevity in this career is people that have been, like, multidisciplined in the entertainment industry and have done a lot of things. And that's exactly why they got so far. Ava DuVernay herself, which is phenomenal, filmmaker. She was a publicist at first in the entertainment industry and in the business world before she got into the directing, producing, writing, all that stuff. So it shows you, like, things can translate and they can help you rise. Just don't be discouraged. Don't give up. Don't listen to the naysayers. Sometimes you can't just tell everybody everything you do. Just tell them one or two things and then surprise them when it happens.
Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are taking notes because now you have all the tools necessary to be the next Carrie Bernans. And guys, now you guys have, now, like I said, guys, you have one final chance if you haven't already. Either message Visioncon directly or put your questions or comments in the live chat. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the plug zone. Carrie Bernans, now is your opportunity to plug, promote, advertise, whatever verb you want to use, anything you want, projects, social media platforms, any secondary services you may provide. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Absolutely. First off, you guys can follow me on social media if you like. Instagram is at Carrie Bernans. Twitter is at Carrie Bernans. So is my TikTok, Carrie Bernans. Snapchat, Love the Carrie. I am filming a movie right now, but I can't really discuss it much. But I do have a new movie that I'm going to be leading in that's coming, that we're starting to film in December. So I would say really check out social media for updates. I was in episode 7 of Lovecraft Country. If you guys seen that, or if you haven't seen it, check it out. Such a great series on HBO. I do offer like one-on-ones with people for career and discussion around like more planning and coming up with a strategic plan. It's not something that I commonly or often do, but I feel like so many people are flooding my inboxes and asking me 1,000,001 questions, and I see so much potential in a lot of people. So I don't do it all the time, but if you want to message me, feel free to. I also have a nonprofit called CV Seed, which we're working on our Christmas holiday give back. So we're currently raising $30,000 right now. If you feel like you want to donate, it's 501c3. Go to cbseed.org, which is C as in Charlie, B as in baby, seed as in you plant a seed to make a plant.org. I would say the last thing I would say to you guys is one day or day one, you know what, you had that dream inside of you for so long, that vision, that goal, whatever you wanted to achieve and do. And honestly, today can be like that another day you say, one day I'm going to do it, or you can say today I'm going to write down the vision, tomorrow I'm going to start putting a plan to it, you know, the next day and the next day and the next day, and you're going to come up, and all of a sudden that one little seed that you planted, it's going to be a big tree that has fruit on it that's multiplying to more big trees. Okay, so don't give up.
Oh my God. That was one of the best plug zones we've ever had.
Oh, thank you.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're out of the plug zone, going right into viewers' comments and questions. Now, like I usually do, guys, going to do it about a 50-50 split. Going to read from the messenger first, then I'll go into the live chat. So first up from the messenger, Jada wrote in and said, "Hi, Carrie. You've actually inspired me to finally shave my head. How can I go about it safely?"
Oh, wow, Jada. That's incredible. I'm so happy for you and your experience and your journey that you're about to have. I would say that go to a professional. I didn't shave my head. Well, when I did Avengers, I shaved part of my head because I was just like, can I see the clippers? I want to shave part myself.
Sure.
But I mean, I have professionals doing it, girl. And I don't want you to, you know, burn or cut your scalp. So I would say that. And then I would say also come up with a reason behind it. What do you feel like you're trying to lose some of? Because I do believe that things are very spiritual and they're very transformational. When you're shaving your head, you're letting something go that's physical, that's been with you for so long. And it's also had stuff tied into that. You know, every experience in your life may be tied to that. So if you feel like there's a negative experience or something crazy that happened that produced you to change and shave your head, then spiritually, like, I'm letting go of this and let it go.
All right. Well, Rashad messaged us real quick and wanted to know, is being Black ever negatively impacted you in the showbiz? So I assume he means, you know, just kind of, you know, being a celebrity and being in Hollywood and all that. I guess, is being an African-American ever negatively impacted you?
I would say no. I mean, Black people are in, especially now more than ever, especially with all the Black Lives Matter movements going on and everybody's with the civil uprising. So in my opinion, I would just be like, you know, I'm proud and I'm Black. Like, if somebody don't want to work with me, they don't want to work with me. And I'm also super confident. I'm not cocky type of girl. But I know I have a lot to give and a lot of worth. And I put in a lot of discipline into everything that I do. So to me, it's an advantage that I'm Black and I do everything else I do. Black is just like, it's like the whipped cream on top of it. Like, that's the experience, you know? And it's the base that you're going to get. Like, I'm a Black woman, every perspective and opinion, even if people think it sounds white or it sounds cultural or it sounds very eccentric or whatever, well, it's the opinion from a Black woman. So I say, like, no, it hasn't limited me. Honestly, I think that it helped me.
Hell yeah. Well, Rashad actually had another question, and he wanted to know, kind of jumping ships here, what was your favorite role you've ever played?
That's a great question. I would say, obviously, like playing Adora Milaje in Black Panther was totally an experience, and I also got to do in Avengers. It was incredible. But I said also playing my own role as the Banshee and really creating those movements. And although it was an interactive sports game, and it was the game of tag, like every time I got into character to play, it just was like I was psyched, I was excited, I was just like ready. And then I had like little kids that dressed up as banshees during the time we filmed the show, and it was on air, and say, when I get mad I get even, in the same phrase. So I would say, like, because that was the one that I took and made my own. It wasn't something that they did give me a couple definitions they wanted me to play, but I really built a book for that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I got one last one for the messenger, then we're going to jump into the live chat, guys, for the last few. But Sarah tuned in and wanted to know, was there ever a stunt that you did that you got really hurt?
No, I'm very thankful and very fortunate that I haven't done any stunts that got me like really hurt or anything. I've had some wire burns on my arms and stuff like that. I did like fall off of a thing actually during the filming of our Fox show. I fell off a 7-foot thing like on the ground on my back and had to get like a cortisone shot. But honestly, it healed up. It took a few months. But I wasn't like crazy injured. It wasn't too bad, honestly.
Sure. Knock on wood.
Yeah. God got me. Yes.
All right. We got just a little bit of time left for some of these live chat ones. So real quick. All right. So Aaron tuned in and wanted to know, what's your fave Disney movie that you'd want or Marvel character? Oh, I'm sorry. Want your Marvel character of choice to cross over in?
Ooh. I want to be the female Wolverine.
Hell yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, I feel like that's a Marvel and an X-Men, right? Yes. So I would say that I want to be a female Wolverine. Like, I can imagine that crossing over. But I think, were they saying favorite Disney movie crossover to Marvel movie, or were they saying like a character, or what exactly?
Okay, so what's your fave Disney movie that you'd want your Marvel character of choice to cross over in? So I think you nailed it, but just in case, let me do another one.
Okay, another one would be Disney movie. Disney. I feel like Disney has all these like princesses and stuff. I mean, I love Mulan, right?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, so I know like Disney made their remake of Mulan, like the live action, which I still thought was really good.
Sure.
And but I'm just thinking, like, I know everybody really wants to see Storm have her own movie, which I'm so excited and I can't wait till that happens.
Oh, yeah.
I would say I don't know, but I just do know that I do want to play Wolverine.
Well, we had another question who wanted to know, did you have more fun in Black Panther or Luke Cage?
Oh, Black Panther.
Black Panther.
I love Cage too, but definitely Black Panther. It was just a total experience.
Well, for the last question, I wanted to do, so Marissa actually tuned in and wanted to know, so she said that I deal with, when I'm saying I mean Marissa. So Marissa says that she deals with imposter syndrome a lot, and it has kept her from going after her dreams. Do you have any advice for that?
Yes, and why can't I think of the definition of imposter? Because I'm thinking of a different definition.
Marissa, if you can tell us the definition of imposter syndrome, because I'm going to be between us girls. I don't know it either. So Lucas actually tuned in real quick and wanted to know, so while she types that, Lucas wanted to know, has there been a celebrity that you have met that was a genuine nice person? Maybe someone you wouldn't have expected?
That's a great question. I meet so many celebrities. I'm just trying to think. Everybody. Sorry. We had to work yesterday on set.
Oh yeah.
Hours. It was on a Sunday. I don't know why I'm still kind of tired. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would say, dang. Everybody's been so nice that I met. I met Oprah. I met Ava DuVernay. I met The Rock. I met Wesley Snipes. Like, he was so amazing, so nice to me. I got his phone number the first time I met him. And he's cool. I met so many incredible people. Like, everybody seems to be overall really nice. There's definitely some people that are a little bit more like in their zone, I guess you could say. But overall, it's been a lot of really nice people.
That's so great to hear. I mean, they always say, don't meet your heroes, but I don't know. Whoever said that, especially for my heroes, they didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, so free Wikipedia plug, imposter syndrome, also known as imposter phenomenon,
right,
is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So thinking your skills aren't as good as people say they are.
Yeah, I thought that's what she meant. Okay, cool. Well, what I would say is like, we live in a world there is full of haters. But in this hater-filled world, there's also a lot of lazy people that don't do anything. People can't tell you how good you are or not at something. Don't let like people's measly words that they type behind a keyboard or they say to your face or they try to keep you from doing something because they were once afraid of doing it themselves or they failed at it and they decided they're not going to try anymore. So what I would tell you is to keep going no matter what, to say, fuck it. You need to look at yourself in the mirror every day and tell yourself how badass you are and all the skills that you are doing. And if you don't feel like you're really, really great at those skills or not as good as someone else, then baby girl, get in the gym. And when I say get in the gym, I'm not saying just like the actual workout gym, because yes, you get your body together there, but get in the gym as far as like an acting class where you're exercising those skills. Get in the gym where you're in a cooking class, exercising that stuff. So whatever those skills look like to you, continue to work them out to prove to yourself that you are the best, because you are. And if you're not the best yet, then I'm sure you're good. You're good if you're fucking doing it, first off, because there's a lot of lazy people that are sitting on their couch and they ain't doing shit. So, you know what? You're badass. You're fucking badass. Don't fucking give up on yourself. Get your shit together. Tell your brain, say, you know what? When those thoughts come in, you say, thank you for stopping by, but today, no, we ain't having it. Get the fuck out of my door, and that's done. And I'm sorry I'm cursing a lot, but that's what you tell. You tell your thoughts, you know what? Thanks for coming by, but you don't live here. Bye. And you work towards your thing. Okay.
Hell yeah, that's how you do a viewer's comments and questions.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, that's all the time we got for Visioncon Live episode 33. Now, before we wrap things up, Carrie, any final thoughts to leave us on?
No, just go out and kill it, y'all. Don't make any excuses. You got this. Yeah, I mean, things happen, but, you're bigger than that. You can overcome anything you set your mind to, period. Okay?
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, for Visioncon Live, episode 33. I, of course, am your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my very special guest, Carrie Bernans. Make sure to check out all the links in the description box below, and until next time, guys, always remember that life's better when you've got friends to share it with.
Yeah.